right. Hey, what's going on? Not sure if you see me. Because we're having all sorts of beautiful technical issues. So apparently YouTube, I need you to make it easier that when you pre-schedule something that you show me how to use the damn thing on my telephone and how to go live with something that you've pre-scheduled. So that's why we're late, everybody. I apologize. And we're not even on the feed that I scheduled it. So hopefully, if those of you that were waiting, I know there were a number of you that were waiting, hopefully you have been able to figure out that I've gone live somewhere else on another frickin' thing, all right? This is just like business though, isn't it? You have a plan and then you start something and you get punched in the mouth, and this is just how life goes, baby. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump in here today with you. I'm making sure that I have I got sound. Okay, we're good. Again, I apologize if you have, you were waiting over on the other feed that we had set up. We pre-scheduled this a couple days ago, and I thought I would just put my phone on like I normally do and hit a button, and there's no frickin' button. Okay, anyway. There are two things in this world that annoy the shit out of me, and one of them is admin tasks, and the other is when technology doesn't work. And I like, seriously, like I'm owning my crap here right now. I lose my crap when those two things don't go the way I need them to go. Maybe I'm just a big baby, I don't know. But anyway, glad to see we got a few people popping on here. Appreciate you guys making time for this morning, Saturday morning. So I'm gonna go through some things that I think are going to be crucial to you getting a 50% gross profit on your work, okay? So here's the deal. We're going to talk about why 50% is important, first of all. Then we're going to talk about some things that prevent you from getting it. Then we're going to talk about 3 things to ensure that you get a 50% profit, gross profit on your projects. And then we're going to talk about some action items that you can take right now to make that happen. All right? So give me 5 seconds. I got to go open this sliding door here because it's hot in here. All right. So check it out. Just making sure that we have our stuff happening here for me. All right. Realize that I was just offline there for a while because my wingman has to leave for his other job, and so he's not behind the camera right now. And something made the thing go off. So anyway, so listen. $50% gross profit. Gross profit is this. You get $1,000 for a job, you spend $500 to do the work, you got $500 left, that's gross profit. Whatever you have left after you produce the work, okay, after you pay your guys their hourly wages and their work comp and all that other stuff, after you pay for materials, whatever it costs you to produce the work is called cost of goods sold or direct costs. What's left is called gross profit. And so we want to shoot for a 50% gross profit on all our work. And there's a few reasons why we want to do that I'm going to share with you here. All right. By the way, if you're jumping on this right now, we've had a buttload of technical issues here this morning. So I apologize for that. The feed thing that we scheduled to do this on didn't work. And so I had to open up a new feed and do this. And then that shut off and all this other crap. So bottom line is we're here. We're going to talk about money and how to make more money in your business. And this is the fastest way for you to make more money. All right, so 50% gross profit, just to be clear, okay? If you do a $1,000 job, costs you $300 to do the job. Maybe you go out and do it by yourself. Maybe you're a small specialty contractor. You go wash some windows and you pay for some soap or whatever you guys do, and you got X amount left. What's left is called gross profit, and gross profit is what you pay your overhead with, okay? And we're not going to get a whole lot into overhead here today, but that's the scoop. So why is it important to get a 50% gross profit? All right. Number one is it's low-hanging fruit for you and your business. It is literally the fastest way that you can make money. Like you can capture profit. Most contractors, and I'm let's define contractors here in the construction business. You are, I'm talking mainly specialty contractor guys. I'm not talking big general contractors right now and home builders and things like that. I'm talking painters, landscapers, pond guys, electricians, window washers, pest control companies and things like that. So this is low-hanging fruit. All right, there's a lot of profit sitting there waiting for you. The first year in my business years ago that I focused on gross profit, I was getting about a 32% gross profit for that. So that means out of every $1,000 that came into the business, I had $32 or $320 left to pay the overhead, which just is not enough. Okay. After 1 year of focusing on it, it jumped up to better than a 50%. I think we're at 52, 53%. Okay. After 1 year, this is low hanging fruit. And there's a couple ways that you can raise gross profit that we'll get into later. Okay. So it's low-hanging fruit. Number two, reason why it's important for you to get a 50% gross profit is it's right. It's you deserve it. So much of what we talk about here in the contractor fight is, you fighting for the value that you're worth. Don't short sell yourself. Don't shortchange yourself. You're going out there, you're investing thousands of dollars in tools and equipment and training and years of experience. You're delivering a great service, a great product, a great finished product and experience for people. All right, you deserve to be well compensated for that. All right, and it's very hard to be well compensated when you're not getting a 50% or better gross profit. Okay, another cool thing here. When you have a higher gross profit, you actually need to do less jobs and get less leads each year to hit your break-even goals and profit goals and some things like that. All right, again, we're not going to get deep into that part today because I don't want to fry your brains right out of the gate here. But basically, the more money you're keeping, you got $10,000 job. If you can keep, $5,000 or better, that's $5,000 that goes to your bottom line into your overhead. Okay. Well, if you got $3,000, it's harder to cover your overhead, and you're going to need more leads and more sales and things like that to feed your overhead. Okay, so less leads and jobs are needed when you have a 50% or better gross profit. I just touched on overhead. You need it for overhead. It's expensive to run a business. Okay, it's expensive to run a contracting company. There's a lot of things that happen. All right, there's insurance and phones and your shop and office manager and admin assistant and marketing expenses and all these other things, they add up, okay? They add up, and the higher gross profit, the easier it's going to be for you to recover your overhead and have what's called a net profit, and that's what's left after that we're not going to get into today. All right, when you have a higher gross profit on your jobs, when you know that you're keeping, 50% or better on a $10,000 job, you can actually slow down, make it a better experience for the client, okay? And in turn, they're going to say nicer things about you, refer you to their friends and their colleagues and things like that, and it's going to continue to feed the business, because when you provide an amazing experience, that's actually more important than the deck you built or the paint job or whatever it is, okay? So I really want to encourage you, just some 5 quick reasons why a 50% gross profit is important, okay? So now, we're going to get into a few reasons here of what prevents contractors, hang that on the window over there, okay? What prevents contractors from getting a 50%, okay? And the first is mindset. Your mindset is crucial to you being able to hit a 50% gross profit or better. Most guys make the mistake of giving a crap of what the going rate is. Okay? Well, and you see it on Facebook groups, you see it on here all the time, you see it at conventions or whatever it is in your industry. Hey, what's the going rate to install a door? What's the going rate to build a 400 square foot, patio or hardscape? What's the going rate to build a fire pit or paint a house or whatever. Guys, the mindset of the going rate is going to kill your business. Okay? So you need to do away with that mindset. Okay? The other mindset that hurts people is that can't happen here. All right? I hear this all the time. I hear it all the time. Well, Tom, that might work in your area, but not in my area. Or that might work in your industry, or this industry, or that industry, but not in my industry. Okay? So listen, this mindset, you have got to believe that it's possible to get a 50% gross profit, because it really ain't that hard. Okay? All right. The other mindset issue that keeps you from getting a 50% gross profit is projecting your crap onto your customer. Okay? Projecting your crap. And what I mean by that is this. I over and over and over and over again, okay, and share in the chat box if this has ever been you, because it's been me. A couple things you do. You're working up a proposal for somebody, you're about to hit send, and it's like $12,100, $12,200, and what do? You bring it down to like 11.8 or 11.9 because you don't want it to be over 12 grand, because to you, your crap, it seems expensive. Okay? So don't mind read. Don't project your beliefs about money onto your clients, onto your prospects. Okay? That's huge. So guys, mindset is big. All right? Mindset is really big here. All right. The other big thing that prevents you from having a 50% gross profit on your work is not knowing your math. This kind of ties in to the going rate thing. I don't give a crap what another contractor's charging to do the thing I do. I only care about my math, because it's my math, okay, that's going to give me the money to deposit in the bank account and to cash those checks and to feed my family and meet my needs and help me reach my goals and get me off that debt hamster wheel or whatever my issues might be in my life. Okay? It has nothing to do with my competition's math. Has everything to do with knowing your math. Now, I would say the only math that you should pay attention to is other contractors like myself and others that actually consistently make more money. Then you go, hey, what's your math look like? Let's talk about that, because I believe it's possible for me too, because I'm going to get my mindset right. Okay? So you got to know your math. Okay? And when you don't know your math, you don't know your numbers, you don't know what it costs to produce a thing that you do, you're screwed right from the get-go. All right? And then the other big thing here is fear. Guys, I get it. Okay? We're going to get into some specific here in a minute, though. Listen, I get it. I know what it's like to feel the pressure to feed your family. I've been bankrupt. I've had years where, made terrible amounts of money and had a family to feed. All right? I know the pressures that we're feeling, and it's really scary to go, okay, if I should charge, $5,000 for something, but I'm scared and I'm charging $4,000 for something, I just stole $1,000 from my family. Okay? And it can be scary when you go, man, I should really charge the higher rate because it's a harder job and the risk, and it's going to cost me this much to do it, and blah, 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 which I'm going to show you how to get to in a minute. All right, but man, I don't think they're going to go for it. And we pucker up and we get scared and we let fear win, okay? And then we submit the bid for $4,000, all right? And they say something like, oh man, I thought it was going to be a lot more than that. I knew a guy that left $700,000 on the table once. He told the customer it was going to be like $350,000 to do something. And the homeowner goes, oh, thank God, I thought you were going to tell me it was $1 million. I thought I was going to have to spend $1 million. Okay? So don't let fear mess you up here and prevent you from doing what's right for you and your business. All right, let me take this down and go to the next one here for you guys. All right. So now, 3 keys to estimating your work at a 50% gross profit. This is where it starts. All right, now listen, if you're watching this and You know, the other day I did a video on the different stages of your business, like you're the infant or the toddler, then you're like the preteen, then you're like the adult or the old guy, okay? If you're an old guy in the business, if you're an adult in your business, if you've got a lot of fancy things going on with softwares and bidding processes and stuff like that, listen, I get that. And this is probably going to be like way dumbed down for somebody as brilliant as you are, all right? But what I want to do is share a couple things here to help you newer guys out, or you guys that just can't figure out this money thing and how to figure things out and what to price your work at, all right? And you let your emotions and your fear and all those things get in the way. Guys, the math never lies. The math never lies. So what I would love for you to do is next time you go out on a bid, or somebody sends you a picture and you do a bid over the phone like we do, all right, you go figure out, all right, what's it going to cost me in labor to do it? And however you figure that out, okay, what's the play that I'm going to call here? What's this thing going to cost me? So if it's going to take me 4 hours to do this thing, and I pay my guys $20 an hour on average, and then you add some burden, okay, and you call it, you know, $5 per man hour in burden, like taxes and work comp and all that other stuff that your bookkeeper or accountant can help you with, it's really costing me, call it $25 an hour, right? So 25 times 4 would be, you know, $100, okay? Let's make it a bigger job. Let's say it's 25 times 40. Okay, so say labor is going to cost you $1,000 on this project. Okay, then you go to material, and say materials are going to cost you $500. Oops, not 5,000, 500. Okay, and then say you got to get a permit, and that's $100. I don't know. I'm just picking some numbers here, guys. All right, and then you got to rent a thing, whatever the thing is. And you're renting the thing for, you know, $500 a day, and you need it for 1 day, okay? And so that's $500. This is what I was talking about before, cost of goods sold, COGS. These are the direct costs that you're paying for to produce the project, okay? Move this a little closer. Hopefully you guys can see it better, okay? All right, use the chat box if that works for you. All right, so you figure out, what is it truly going to cost me? And sometimes you got to figure out some things like, hey, this is like if everything goes right, I'm going to spend $1,000 on labor. If everything goes right and I figured material properly. So maybe you want to put a little, you know, what did I used to call it? The OSF. That's the oh shit factor. Okay? And it might be another $400 or something just to cover myself. Okay, guys, this is not ripping people off. This is making sure that you can do what you said you would do, okay, in the manner which we talked about earlier on that other sheet about a great experience, okay? So then you add up what it's going to cost you to do the job. So you got 1,000, you got 1,500, right? 5 is 1,500. You got 2,000, you got $2,500. That is your job cost, direct costs. So the estimating process, if you just start with cost times at least 2 and sell the job there, not a penny less, then you are starting in the right direction of getting 50%. Because if I take that 50%, or I'm sorry, $2,500 times 2, if I charge $5,000 for that project, based on this, and however you get there is fine. You use a spreadsheet software, you freaking, you know, stone tablets, and you're chipping it. I don't care how you figure it up. Figure out what it costs you to do the work, what it's costing you. This is the amount of money that you are writing a check for to build Mrs. Jones a deck or a painter room or whatever the hell it is, okay? So you sell it at this or more. When you do that, you're starting properly, okay? Well, it can't end there, because then we get into the production process. 3 keys, right? The first key, estimating process. Second key, production process, okay? You got to have a clear scope of work, okay? And you have to expect the right outcomes. All right? And what I mean by that is this. A clear scope of work is you share this with your team. You put it in writing. Say, guys, I had I had 40 man hours or whatever you had, right? I had 40 man hours of labor, and this is how I broke it down. I figured it'd be 10 hours for this, and 8 for this, and 3 for this, and I gave you guys 6 man hours, total man hours. So if it's 2 guys times 3 hours, that's 6 man hours, right? For cleanup or whatever it is. I estimated X amount of gallons or this much product or whatever it is. Give them a clear scope. Okay? Give them, hey, this is how I planned on doing it. I actually thought I'd rent the thing to help our production and save us some man hours or whatever it might be. Guys, without a clear scope, you're just working hard, and you're working hard without a plan. And working hard without a plan is just stupid. Okay? Then you got to expect the right outcomes. All right? So if it was bid for 40 hours and 500 in material, then damn it, you better make sure crew hits 40 man hours and not an hour more. Because if you go at 41 hours, you now are taking out of the 50% gross profit. Now you have less than a 50% gross profit. So every hour that you're over and every dollar that you're over on materials and these other things is taking away from the 50% gross profit because it's adding to those direct job costs of $2,500 that we were talking about earlier. Okay? All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Third key, okay, to ensuring that you get a 50% gross profit on your work is job costing every project. What I mean by that is, and you need to do this at least one time a week, sit down and go, okay, here's the Reber job. It was bid for 40 hours and 1,500 in materials and other expenses. How did we do? Okay, how did we do? All right, we finished in 32, and we were 1,600 on all this other stuff. So we're under here and we're over here. Then you ask this question, why? Good or bad, pretty or ugly, just ask the question, hey, why did we save man hours? How did we save man hours? Or, hey, why were we a little over on this? And maybe your guy running the crew for you or something says to you, hey, you know what? I kicked over a 5-gallon bucket of paint on accident in the backyard and had to go buy another one. So this $500 became $600. Okay? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Guys, this is not like a time that anyone is in trouble. This is just, trying to figure out why. Because pay attention to what I'm about to say here. Okay? Winning or losing on a job is actually not the worst thing that can happen. Okay? So making money or losing money on a project is not the best thing or the worst thing that can happen. The worst thing that can happen is not knowing why you made or lost money. Okay? When you have a consistent, at least weekly, if not within 24 hours after the completion of each project, if you're not sitting down for a few minutes and just going, okay, how did we do? How did we get there? Why did we do this? Blah, 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 blah. Okay? You are really hurting your business, and you're going to prevent yourself from getting a 50% or better gross profit. All right? So hopefully that helps. If you have questions, type them in the box because we're coming down the home stretch here. I'm going to give you some action items. Okay? Here's a few action steps for you because none of this is any good if you don't have some action items to do. Okay? So the first step to take is commit to a 50% or better. Commit to it. Get your mindset right, like we talked about earlier. Okay? Making sure, I'm looking at all my things I got hanging on here. Make sure that you get rid of that going rate mentality. Make sure that you get rid of that mentality that says, oh, that can't happen in my area. Making sure that you get rid of that mindset that says, where you're making other people's crap your crap. Okay? Get your mind right and commit. Commit. One of the reasons you're not getting a 50% gross profit on every project is because you haven't made it a non-negotiable in your business. Okay? And it could be done. All right? Listen, it could be done. You could bid all your work. You could bid all your work to get a 50% or a 60%, and you could just choose, I am not doing a project. If somebody doesn't tell me yes, I ain't doing the job. I'm not negotiating, whatever. It can be done. It can be a non-negotiable. And I've seen it happen over and over and over again. And you got to work through that fear. So you got to commit. All right? Number 2 thing you need to do. Ignore the competition. Too many contractors are sabotaging their businesses. And they're stuck on the hamster wheel. They're still having arguments with their spouses about money. They're losing sleep. They can't keep a team together. Okay, they don't have enough leads. They can't invest money in marketing or building their brand or whatever it is. And one of the core reasons for that is you're paying attention to the competition on what the going rate is and what they're charging in your area, in your industry. And, you know, oh man, they're charging $500 for that. I should charge $400 for that, or $499. Okay, and then it's just a race to the bottom. When you should be doing the opposite. Ignore them. Make the competition irrelevant. There's a lot of different ways we can do that I'm not going to get into today. Okay? But guys, get your mind right. Commit and ignore. Okay? Focus on your what? I said it earlier. Your math. Okay? Your math kind of goes in with this. The only math that matters is your math. And check it out. You got to cash checks and make deposits to pay for your life and your overhead and all those other things. Okay? And if you're focused on everyone else's math and not your own, and you're not implementing your math and making it a non-negotiable, then you are hurting your business. All right, so first 3 steps here. Commit to a 50% or better. Okay? Ignore the competition. Focus on your math. Okay? Chris, I'm going to answer that in a minute. Focus on your math and cost times 2 at least. If you go cost times not 2, and they call you back in 3 months, 6 months, or a year when you still have a warranty, where's the money going to come from for you to go fix that shit? Okay? Guys, there's a lot of reasons 50% is crucial for a specialty contractor like you guys watching this right now. Okay? All right. Chris, I'm going to get to you a minute here. So guys, I guess the 5th action step would the word tips. Text the word tips. Text tips to that phone number. All right? We have daily tips that you can consume in less than 2 minutes a day. First thing in the morning, they go out like 5 in the morning or whatever. Sometimes there are 2, 3 little sentences with some thoughts for the day on math or mindset or marketing or leadership, recruiting, whatever. Sometimes it's a quick little video, whatever. Okay? This will equip you and keep this, you'll start your day with the right mindset to help you grow your business and not be afraid to raise your prices and things like that. So Chris, I want to address your question here. Chris says, I love your information, but I feel like adding 50% would price me too high to get the jobs. Any thoughts? Absolutely. I have lots of thoughts. First of all, you're not adding 50%, remember? Like if it's costing you $1,000 to do the job and you add 50%, you're only adding $500, okay? We're talking about doubling your price, adding 100%. Okay? So that's what it is. You figure out your cost and you add 100%. Multiply it times 2, you're adding 100% and selling it there. Because here's how the math works, guys. Okay? If I sell a job, I'm going to address your question. Don't go away, Chris. If I sell a job at $1,000 and I take away $400 in costs, I get $600 left. Same job, still costing me $1,000. Okay, this is a 60% gross profit because it's right there. Do the math. Okay. What if it goes the other way? What if the job costs? What if I charge $1,000 and the job costs me $600? Now I got $400 left. Now I have a 40% gross profit. And now I actually need to do more work, more projects, more running around on the hamster wheel for actually less money. Okay? So Chris, doubling your costs and selling it there is going to require you becoming a master salesperson. It's going to require you being committed to being just as committed as being a salesperson and knowing your math as you are whatever your craft is that what you do. I'm sure you're a really good craftsman, okay? And we spent all these years and all this time being able to use our tools and this and that. Well, listen, sales is a skill, just like cutting wood is or painting a room or whatever, okay? So, actually, I'm just making sure I didn't miss part of your question. And you know what? You want it to price you too high. All right? This is one of the things we talk about in our Contractor Sales Academy. We actually teach never go out to somebody's home. If we're talking residential here, never go out to somebody's home unless they already know what it's about to cost. There's a range. You've already had a conversation about money. All right? Now, a lot of you guys are going, that's impossible. I can't do that. Can't do that in my area, right, where I wrote that down. Okay? Or, that's now other contractors do it. That's exactly. Because 99% of the contractors in the world, you guys, why I said focus on your math, most contractors in the world, your math is wrong. All right? So you don't want to focus on people who are wrong. And you want to weed out people. If you're getting, 50 leads a month coming in, and you run out there and you're tap dancing for 4 hours on every lead, meaning you drive there, you're sitting in traffic, you drive home, so you got drive time to and from, then you're standing in their living room tapping dancing going, we're really good, we're really good, and we're going to do great work because we're really good, and all this other bullshit, okay? You're spending 200 hours a month because don't forget about the time that you go home to type up the fucking thing, all right? Pardon my French. At 11 o'clock at night, and wonder why you don't get any good sleep, wonder why you don't have a good relationship with your spouse, okay? Because you're stealing your family time. So Chris, you absolutely want to price yourself away from the tire kickers. And that's why this 200 hours, literally, it's going to be about that. In most trades, we've done the math across the board. It's an average of about 4 hours of your life, because then a week from now, they're now in witness protection program. They're hiding from you because you emailed a price that was too high for them to begin with because they were never your customer, and you're spending mental energy on them and another 10 minutes here and 15 minutes here calling them, and then you finally get a hold of them. You have a 5 or 10 minute, 20 minute conversation just for them to tell you no again. I could go on and on here, man, because I've lived it. But now you're spending like 200 hours a month chasing frickin' work, when if you would pre-screen properly, instead of running out on 50, you're running out on 15. And you're closing, 90 to 100% of those that you actually go see because you pre-qualified them properly like we teach and all that other stuff. And the other cool thing is we teach you some techniques to actually raise your sale price from what it was originally going to be because of the way that you've pre-qualified these people. Just like somebody else just here said, your target demographic should be the customers who value you. Absolutely, okay? So Chris, you want to be priced out. You don't want to go out on every estimate. You don't want to win every job. You want to win the right jobs. Check this out, okay? If my average job, let's do some math here. If my average job, I'm doing this on the fly here, man, so I might screw it up. All right, if your average job is $10,000 and you get a 40% gross profit, which is actually high. Most guys get a 30, to be honest with you. Like people that I start working with come into our programs, rarely are they much over 30%. But let's say you're at 40, your $4,000 is what you're keeping on a job. Okay, shit, you guys can't see that. All right, so if I want to make $40,000 to put down into my overhead, I got to do 10 jobs, right? Or I go $10,000 times a 50%, times 50% is 5,000. I now need 8 jobs, okay? But it's the right 8 jobs is my point here. I know you can't read this. It's a pain in the butt to see. I apologize for that, all right? Yeah, you nailed it there, Chris. Essentially, make sure you get paid for what you're worth or don't waste your time. There's another mindset thing that I didn't go into here, and I'll end with this. There are plenty of people that are more than willing and excited to pay your higher prices. Because most people, when they tell you no, it has nothing to do with your price. Price is the easy thing. Price is the easy thing that we say, oh, they didn't hire me because they said I was too expensive. Well, some people, but most people just lie to you because they don't want to hurt your feelings. They liked you, you came out to their house, and you were nice, and you pet the dog, and you asked them about, oh, I see that you golf, because you see you had golf clubs in the garage and all this other bullshit that we do in sales, right? And they liked you. You're out hustling, maybe you knocked on their door and they gave you a chance to bid it, okay? Ultimately, the reason you're not getting work, you guys, or you're not selling at a higher price is because they don't trust you. They don't trust you. It is that simple. See, $500 to me, not a lot of money. $500 to somebody else might be a lot of money. So we talked about mind reading earlier, right? Okay, but ultimately, there's what I call a give a shit number. We all have a give a shit level of money. And if you're targeting, if you're able to, and I don't know where the sheet is, if you're able to provide a great experience for people that respect you and what you do and respect the value that you bring, those people are so much less interested in what it's costing them to get the service done. They're more interested in, did it mess with the quality of my life? Did it screw up our schedule? Did you mess up our home? On and on and on and on. Did you do what you said you were going to do? Did you make it easy for me to buy and work with you? And all these things, the experience that surrounds the project. Did you deliver a great experience? Because most people, I had a guy come out, he was quoting me on some lawn work or some yard work, and in my mind, my give a shit number was like $500, meaning anything up to $500 I wouldn't have cared about. Literally, I wouldn't have cared. Once he hit $500, he'd get my attention. I'd probably would have been willing to pay $600 or $800 for the thing that I needed done. It was a bunch of high grass like this here in Colorado in our yard, and I had people coming over the next day. And it was probably a, 2,000 square foot area of my yard. I needed it hacked down, okay? And I'm like looking at it going, I don't know, it's probably $500 or something like that. I don't know. I needed it done that weekend. And this guy came out and he tap danced and he was afraid to talk about money. And you know what he frickin' told me? $40. 40. He made his crap my crap. And I'm like, okay. Now I was just going to give him a $100 bill and just go, let's just do it now. You know what he told me? Oh, I got to leave because I got to go do another bid. I said, wait a minute, you're going to leave here. I offered him $100. I said, here, just take $100 and do it now. You got your tractor there or your mower, whatever the hell the thing is in your truck. In the time that you walked around and acted like you were scribbling numbers down in your notepad, you probably could have cut the damn thing. All right? Guys, I didn't trust him. Okay? Ultimately, and I didn't hire him. After he told me I had to go do another bid, we were done. Hired another guy to come do it. Cost me, I don't know, he told me $60. So you guys that cut grass are lunatics, man. I'm telling you, charge more money. Ultimately, people don't buy. Let me get back on track here. People don't buy because they don't trust you. That's truly what it is. And trust is built when you're confident. So Chris, when you're saying, hey, I'm worth what I'm worth, and these are my numbers, and this is my math, and I focus on my math, and I know my math, and I know what I got to bring home at night and each day, and I know what my overhead is, and I know what my profit goals are, and things like that, and I'm ignoring the competition, and I'm committed to this, you're going to have a confidence, and people are going to want to work with you. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in people that we work with over and over and over and over again. When you're confident in what you're charging and your math and the value you bring, people will gladly pay you more money for it. Because as a consumer, one of the things that we hate is lack of confidence. I've seen it. I'm just talking to somebody the other day. He sold a paint job for 10 or 12, 13, 14,000 bucks, between 11 and 14,000 bucks, I think, with a little bit of carpentry repair. and it was with a property management company. And we all know how we feel about property management companies, right? They're cheap. They're not going to pay good prices. And this wasn't a big job. And my client Dan got, I don't know, 11 to 14,000 bucks for this thing. That the other bid that she got was $5,000. And Dan said to her, hey, just curious why you didn't go with the guy at $5,000. And she says, I just wasn't confident that he was going to do what we needed, and ultimately was just insecure about it. In other words, she didn't trust him. Okay? So, guys, commit, ignore, focus on your math, cost times 2 at least. All right? Don't forget to text TIPS to 719-651-1257 if you already haven't done that. Really appreciate you guys hanging with me. Oh, one more pro. We ever change this rule for a reoccurring customer? Example, large builder I do 10 projects a year for. I will answer that with it depends. I will do my math. All right, because I think you got to come right out of the gate strong with the builder though, and don't fall prey to, I did this for years, don't fall prey to the, you'll make it up in volume, because you're not going to volume your way to high profits, okay? You want to work with people that are going to be a good fit and respect what you bring. And so there's a lot in the sales process, Chris, that you can work through with the builder and understand his pain, things that are important to him. And when you're checking all those boxes in his life, you're worth more money. All right, and you got to fight for that more money. Now, will I ever do a job for 40%? It depends. And this is not a topic for today. This depends on your break-even point and what your overhead is and things like that. Today was all about the fastest way for you guys to make 50% profit on consistently on your projects, okay? And this is a great place to start, and I would be massively committed to this until you got your groove down. Then if I have a project, I'll give you an example, Chris. I worked with a lot of real estate agents when I was a painting contractor outside of Chicago. I had one real estate agent that would call me up, and they were doing, this is back when the recession was hitting and the economy was tanking, and they had all these foreclosure homes that they needed just some quick paint jobs on the inside, okay? And so I basically worked it out with her and this relocation company that we would go in, and I think I bid my work on those. It was a 35, 40, 45%, somewhere in there. Here's why though, because to me, they were never part of my break-even equation. They were extra money. We did them on Saturdays and Sundays. I would sub it out to a crew. And so if it was a $10,000 job that we had to go in and paint, and I was only going to keep $4,000 of it, I would sub that work out and keep the $4,000, and I'd make an easy $4,000 bucks. But it was never part of my break-even strategy, which is another conversation. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. All right, appreciate you guys. TIPS, the word TIPS, TIPS, to 719-651-1257. You guys are awesome. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter to those of you that celebrate Easter and stuff like that. And don't forget, use the chat box or the comments below to share other topics that you would like some of these live videos to be on. And like I said at the top, I apologize if you went to the other scheduled stream and you couldn't find me there. I couldn't figure out which button to push on our phone. That would turn that one on, so I had to open this one up. And hey, if you know a contractor that could use help like this, share this video with them as well. Appreciate you guys. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you next time on The Fight.